So welcome to the Digital Maddy Show with your host and host Miithyl, the show made exclusively for solopreneurs, artists and coaches who wants to build their business online. With 15 plus years of business experience, I cover topics on personal branding, content creation and digital marketing on this show and invite many experts who share the same passion like mine. Today we have an amazing guest on our show. So let me just introduce him before I bring him onto the stage. So he basically helps retail business owners improve their cash flow and profit, the foundation, the fundamentals of running a business. So his philosophy is very simple. Three things: visibility, cash, and profit. So when you have the visibility of the numbers in your business, you can start to flush your bank account with cash and start to drive profit. So that's what his mantra is. So these are the fundamentals of any business to rapidly become the vehicle to provide the lifestyle that you want. So without wasting much of our time, let me bring on the stage Alvin Narsey. So welcome, Alvin.
Miithyl, thank you so much for having me. It's a real honor. Thank you.
Awesome, Alvin. So Alvin, why don't we start with the backstory? So over to you.
Yeah, okay. So I was very fortunate in that I used to live in Melbourne, Australia, and I studied pharmacy in Melbourne, Australia. And then once I graduated, I went overseas. And when I came back from backpacking around the world a little bit, I decided it was time to get into business. And as a pharmacist, I got into a pharmacy-based business when I was 27 years old. But lo and behold, I had no idea about running a business or what it takes, what's involved in growing a business and for it to be profitable, etc. So I was very, very fortunate in that I was pretty hungry and eager to learn and grow. And I hired some coaches and consultants to help me along the way. So, over the past 15 years, I've bought and sold large pharmacy-based businesses in Melbourne, Australia. And then during the pandemic, pharmacy was a very, very good business. This is last year in Australia. And I sold my business. I sold my last pharmacy-based business. And then my wife and I decided to move to Germany. And here I am now in the next phase of my life, helping other retailers do the same thing, help them improve their cash flow and profit and to create the lifestyle, that they want.
That's good to know. Good to know that, Alvin. So Alvin, I'll be asking you, we'll be having the discussion around cash flow. So since it's the foundation and the fundamental of it. So Alvin, can you share how can a retail business or any business per se can increase their cash flow?
Yeah, absolutely. And right, exactly like you said, these are the fundamentals of any business, really. And so the concepts are the same. So to increase your cash flow, there's a few basic things that we need to do. And I say basic because, many of us as business owners, including me, myself, we tend to overcomplicate the matter because, you get your figures from your accountant or your bookkeeper, you look at all the numbers and, you get overwhelmed. You're too busy putting out fires in your own business. And that's what the common mistake I see business owners making. We push cash flow to one side. So how do we increase our cash flow? Well, I think the number one step to increasing our cash flow is to have an understanding of what our cash flow is. So that's basically recording it. I think as business owners, we fall short because, again, we think it's too complicated. But just really simply recording our cash flow is the first step to give us some X-ray goggles or X-ray vision into the flow of cash in our business. The second thing, which is super important, is to also forecast our cash flow. I think that's really important. So we can see, what effects subtle changes in our business or changes that we want to make in our business will impact our business further on down the track. And I think one of the other things that's really important for all businesses really is to flush your bank account with cash. It's really important to understand your average sale per client or average dollar sale or sale per customer. It's a metric that's across all businesses. Basically, you need to understand how much you're selling to a particular client, because once you know how much you are, then it's a really easy metric to improve, and we can start to improve that. So those are the basic fundamentals that I discovered when I was running my businesses, and this is what I work with my clients in achieving.
Wow. So if if like these are like the basic things, and if I follow, because most of the time we forget is going back to basics. We try to use all
100%.
Difficult jargons and all those various systems and sigma and all those things.
Yeah.
But yes, it's always the basic which actually counts. But one thing I have noticed, Alvin, is yes, this was the very important question. Everyone wants to have a cash flow, but most people don't even understand that cash flow is also important in the business. So okay, let's assume, Alvin, that people know cash flow and they know the importance of having a cash flow. And now if I follow all the parameters that you just shared, and of course there will be much more deeper segment also into it, but then one thing I have noticed, Alvin, is people don't even track the backflow, the cash flow and many other things. So what is the best way to track and forecast a business cash flow?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you're 100% right. We often forget to track our cash flow, and on the assumption that it's overwhelming. The easiest way to do it, and this is the easiest way that I did it, this is the way I was taught, and this is what I work with my clients doing, is to use a very, very simple spreadsheet. So nothing too fancy. We're not using Xero, QuickBooks, MyOb, just a simple Google Sheets or Excel, whatever your flavor is. And all we're doing is ideally logging into our internet banking account and downloading our credits and debits for the week. Now, I prefer to track cash flow weekly, and when I'm working first with my clients, it's a good idea to do it weekly because you get a much deeper understanding of what's happening with your business. And once you get into a rhythm of doing it weekly, it becomes easier. And two, you can really start to look into your magic ball. But really, it's a matter of just a simple getting the credits or whatever funds went into your bank account for that week, whatever you paid out, your debits. And the magic thing is you can use your opening bank balance at the beginning of the week. I usually recommend we do Monday to Sunday, which is most trading weeks around the world. So just all you need to do is just make sure that your starting bank figure is correct and your ending bank figure on the Sunday is correct. And that's how you know you've done it correctly. But it's really as easy as that. It's just the cash going in and the cash going out. And that's really the step one. And it's as simple as that. And, quite often as business owners, we can try and make it a little bit too complicated. I know I did the same. It was like, oh, what do I categorize this expense under and all that? You don't need to worry about it. Just write it. If you paid the milkman, you paid the milkman, you put the figure there. And then over time, as we start to record our cash flow, we can, work weeks down the track and optimizing and making it look pretty and get the categories correct. But the main thing is you could even just do a bulk cash in, bulk cash out, the end figure, and that's all you need to know in the beginning. It's revolutionary, isn't it? It's just it's so
absolutely
simple.
I'm like, you made it so simple, which made me Alvin, like, since both our roots are from India, so I can connect the munshis, the people who used to be the ones who used to sit in I'm talking about very old times, where there used to be a munshi uncle who used to have all those ledgers and debit and credit and all that thing. I think that's the basic and that's the foundation of what you just, because that's how people understand the business, understand the cash flow. And I think if we follow and track it in the right way, this is how things will be much better.
Absolutely. And once you start writing down, or we can use Google Sheets now, or you can use a pad, whatever's easier for you. I would recommend we move to something cloud-based like Excel or Google Sheets. But once you start to do it for a few weeks, it really does blow your mind because you can really start to see the flow of cash. And it's very difficult to make a mistake as long as at the end of each week you're balancing your figures. So the figure in your spreadsheet matches the figure in your bank account. And as long as that's all correct, it's just a simple addition, subtraction. But that's just the first thing. That gives you so much optics. It really can blow your mind.
Absolutely. Like I started with Google Calendar, but then eventually I migrated to Notion, because Notion had much better templates and it was very easy because my entire thing is now on Notion. So it becomes a one-stop solution for everything. So thank you, Alvin, for that. So Alvin, I have seen one more thing is people focus primarily on revenue, but I have seen in many of your content that you recommend that people should basically have their focus on cash flow as well as profit. So why should, according to you, retail business should focus on cash flow and profits rather than on revenue?
Yes, Great question. So, revenue is great. Revenue is a really good metric that you want to track. And revenue as a business owner makes you feel good because, you can say, oh, I'm turning over $3 million, $4 million a year or a month, and it sounds good. But revenue doesn't mean anything unless you're banking the profits which you're making from the business. So, someone always made this saying that revenue is vanity. So essentially what you want to do is I prefer, we can track revenue, that's great, that's a good metric, but really how you pay yourself, how you pay your team, how you're going to expand your business is all a function of the profit that you make. And that's the net amount that you're actually banking into your bank account at the end of the day. So I think it's often overlooked, the metric, and it's easily overlooked because we're in this startup culture at the moment where many businesses are starting up and they don't really focus on profit. They're really focusing on revenue and user numbers, and that's great for those businesses. But for some other small businesses, it's not for us to get caught up in that game of the revenue game.
Absolutely. So thank you, Alvin, for giving majorly highlights on each of this fundamentals of cash flow. And that with that we come to the end of the phase 1 of the interview. And in the phase 2, as all our audience know, that we go ahead with the rapid fire round. So what I'm going to do, Alvin, is I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and you won't get time to think about it. And whatever the first thing that comes in your mind, you will be answering that. So are you
Fantastic.
ready?
I am ready. Let's go. This will be fun.
Awesome. So let's make it a little intense. So let's zoom a little bit. All right. So, all right. The very first question that I ask every guest on the show is, what is the one thing that you would like to put on your bucket list in 2022?
2022, my bucket list would be to go to the World Coffee Championships in Milan.
Wow. I heard it for the first time.
Yeah, I'm a big coffee fan, and so the championships are in Milan this year.
Awesome. All right, Alvin. Second question: who do you admire the most?
Wow, that's a big question. I would say the Dalai Lama is the person I've admired the most for a long time.
All right. Let's go to the third question: who is your favorite cartoon character and why?
Oh my God, I would have to say Batman, because he's that mix of innovation, money, really mysterious and dark, and he's got some underlying brooding issues, and he's constantly working on himself, even though it's not overly apparent. But Batman for sure.
Absolutely. And according to Flash, the only superpower Batman has is he's rich.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. So all right, so you just gave an answer for 2 of the questions that I was asking.
Okay.
One was superhero, another was cartoon character. All right, I need to now search another question for you. All right, so let's take you from Germany to LA, and if a movie was to be made on your life, your work, what genre it would be, and who would play your role?
Well, who would play my role would be Keanu Reeves for sure. I'm working on his Keanu Reeves hairstyle. Genre, I think it would be a little bit of a mix of John Wick and maybe a little bit of The Matrix. 50-50.
2 of my best movies that I love, and both features him. All right, so since you said about those movies, what's your favorite movie quote?
My favorite movie quote? Oh my goodness. That's a really good question. I think it would have to be risk everything or gain nothing. And I think that was from The Wolf of Wall Street, but I can't be too sure.
I also am feeling that, yes, it's from the same movie.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alvin. I hope you enjoyed this rapid fire round.
Thank you. I did. It was, you put me on the spot, that's for sure.
All right. So, Alvin, all the people who are listening to this particular episode, if they want to connect and know more about you, about what you do in life, so how can they do that?
Yeah, the best way to get in touch with me is via Facebook. Just look me up, Alvin Narsey. That's where you'll find all my content, where I live, and the best way to get in touch with me. And I'm also, for those listeners of the show, if you message me and you tell me that you heard me on here on the Digital Maddy Show with Miithyl, then I'm happy to give the first 3 listeners that do that a 15-minute cash flow and profit audit/strategy session. It's a very brief, picture of what I do, but I'd be happy to do that in whatever business you've got for a 15-minute free chat, which will give you definitely a lot of takeaways that you can go and implement in your business to improve your cash flow and profit.
As the quote always says, early bird catches the worm. So
Exactly.
all the first 3 listeners, grab this opportunity, because I'm sure you're going to get tremendous insight from a person who has gone so deeper into cash flow and many other aspects of the business. So he's the right person to go to.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. So I don't want to stop this interview, Alvin, but yes, the beginning has an end also. So before we end this episode, what is the one message, Alvin, that you would like to give to all the listeners?
I think as business owners, we have this ability to overcomplicate things and continually chase after the new things. And I was certainly the same, running from one new marketing strategy to the other. And I would just invite you just to slow down, have a look at the fundamentals of the business, the way it's run, and just to really take a step back and simplify the process. I'm really big on that. I think we overcomplicate a lot of things.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alvin, for taking out your precious time and giving so much value on this. And I'm sure all the people who are listening this particular episode, they will get more benefit, and smart people will get more benefit when they connect with you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Miithyl. Thanks for the opportunity. It was awesome.
Awesome. So you have just listened to the Digital Maddy Show with your host Miithyl. Thank you so much for listening to our show and giving so much love. Don't forget to subscribe to our show on any podcast platform where you are listening to. And if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. So this is Miithyl with Alvin signing off at the moment. Until next time, meet you soon with another guest and their amazing stories. But until then, keep rocking, stay safe, and don't forget to keep creating content.